We head to Keeneland for our daily double, and I want them all in the Jenny Wiley and none in the Lexington Stakes.
I think you only need one in the Jenny Wiley.
Breaking news, breaking news. Sound the trumpets, sing the alarms. We bring on Michael Myers, Vinny, and we all get off the snide by hitting our daily double last week. 3 for 3. How does that feel?
Felt pretty good. That ended up being a good double there.
Paid more
I
than I
think that ended
thought.
up being a very good double.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely paid more than I thought too. I'll take that. That was great.
It was great for our app as well. We had as many players as we've ever had. So the Derby fever is kicking up in our Doubling Down app. You play along with us. This month, Armchair Handicapper, follow him on X, is giving away his sheets for the month of May to the top 5 finishers in our contest. So every month we have a contest. If you're not comfortable playing the horses, it's the great place. There's past performances in the app. You can start to get a feel and read it. You can message me and Vinny on X. We'll be happy to walk through what we know or what we don't know, and what we try to know. So head on over to doublingdown.glide.page, jump on into the app, and play along with us. Vinny, it is the last Kentucky Derby prep, the Lexington Stake. It's only worth 20 points. So
Yep.
for the most part, our field for the Kentucky Derby is set. We start having some spotlight videos coming out. I did Renegade Weekly recently. We have a blind ranking video coming out, which is a lot of fun that I put Vinny on the hot chair for. And haven't landed on our Kentucky Derby horses yet, but just 50,000-foot level, Vinny, not getting into the specifics, not mentioning who you like. Where's your excitement level for the 2026 Kentucky Derby?
I'm pretty hype. I'm pretty hyped for it, honestly. I know I I know a lot of people are kind of like down on the field because we've lost a couple of the big names along the way. But it makes for a great betting race, and two, like it really is kind of like wide open. I personally think it's down to like I think there's maybe 5 or 6 horses that have a legitimate shot of winning, but there's no monster in this field, in my opinion. So anything can happen.
Anything can happen and possibly will, and we will spend some time in trying to attack how you put together ticket structure when you have 5 or 6 horses that you feel really good on. Vinny's really good on Kentucky Derby Day, putting together those tries and superfectors, and we'll work on that as well. But right now we have business to attend to. We do head to Keeneland, and we do head to race 9 and 10 of their card for Saturday, April 11th. It's the Jenny Wiley Stakes, a Grade 1 for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. A purse of $650,000, a mile and a 16th on the turf. I thought this was a excellent field that comes together. I loved kind of going through and looking at each of these horses. Dynamic pricing is one that I just, as soon as I see the name of the horse, I know I'm going to fall in love. And I think this is a spot where dynamic pricing could be interesting. Lush Lips, Destino de Oro, Expensive Queen on the inside. This is a race that Chad Brown has had a ton of success in over the recent years. He comes in with 2. Brendan Walsh comes in with 2. I was pumped by it, and I thought that this was much more of the exciting race of the 2 that we had to get through to get this daily double going. Where did you start? What were your thoughts on the field? Are you excited for this race as I am?
Yeah, this is a great field. And I personally, I'm a fan of like a handful of horses in here. I really like Expensive Queen. Dynamic pricing, has been a horse that I've definitely won some money on. Deep Satin, Lush Lips, of course. I'm a huge fan of Lush Lips. That horse has been excellent to me. Um, but yeah, like as a fan, I think this is the best. Like this is a great race. I love turf racing one, and I think this is just an excellent race. I hope all these horses stay healthy so I can see them run at Saratoga this summer. Um, I singled here because I liked too many. It was one of those problems. You know, you get some of these grade one, you get these deep grade one fields, and you can't play them all. A lot of people, I think, spread in races like this. I'm just gonna take a stab
Guilty.
and hope that yeah, I'm gonna hope my single is right here. I went to the far outside with Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt with the number 10. She won the matriarch in her last start as a 4-year-old at Del Mar. So this is her first race as a 5-year-old. Chad's pretty good off the layoffs, and this horse has just been keeping good company. Uh, so that was kind of it. Pratt gets the mount here, which also kind of swayed me. Pratt usually gets Chad's top horses in the turf races. Irad's got the other one, so like there's nothing wrong with the two. There's nothing wrong with either Chad. I just preferred this one. Uh, I'm a sucker for Judd Mott horses. So that was my other logic going here, and I like this. I like the stretch out as well. Her last couple races have been at a mile. I like horses stretching out on the turf. Races going a mile and a 16th today, so that also played a factor in my decision to single. And she does have a win at Keeneland. She's 2 races at Keeneland, 1 win, 1 second. So nothing terrible here. Outside post isn't ideal, in my opinion, against a very good field like this.
Mm.
But it, her numbers fit. Her numbers fit right up there with some of the others. She should be around. I'm gonna guess she might second choice. She might end up being favored. I hope not, but I think again, deep field. Your favorite's probably going to be 5-2. I'm fine with a $7 horse as my as a single if it goes even if she goes off the favorite. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, I mean, I could make an argument for others. I just thought I was going to get a little bit of a price here, and she wasn't going to be. I thought I was going to get second money on her.
Yeah, looking at the past performances, Racelands will highlight for me races in yellow that are of similar purse. Try to quickly identify for me class. So you can go two back and three back, 112 on the class rating in those races. Puts up a 106 and a 110. That's a grade 3 in the grade 1. First Lady at Keeneland finishing second. When I see half a length and neck, those are, yes, they're not wins, but they're right there. And when you see the one before that in the grade 3 and the one in the grade 1 last time out, you'd absolutely know it's a spot that she fits in. You mentioned it, which was my concern of kind of backing away was A, what's the price, and B, being all the way on the outside kind of made me a little
Yeah,
shy, made me a little skittish. And maybe it's, nothing. Post position is not
yeah.
something I drastically take into consideration, but when you have horses
Oh,
that are this
all right.
close,
Wow. I feel like
Racelands
I
likes your
never.
10.
Yeah, I feel like me and Racelands usually don't agree, so that's kind of nice to see.
Today you agree with the pace projection for Racelands, who has suggest as your 25% number one horse. Lush Lips was the other who you had talked about probably making sense in here for Tyler Gaffleone, the Brendan Walsh.
Yeah.
Couples 112 last two races has won three in a row. I think there's three horses coming into this race that have won three in a row. Coming off of Gulfstream and the Honey Fox
Yep.
horse that has sit close up front two races prior to that, but has also been a little bit further back and been able to close. So some versatility going back into 2025 is a horse that's even won on the front end. There is a steady progression. Lush Lips looks
Yeah.
pretty tough in here. A $3.7 million horse. You're taking a shot. How do you envision maybe Lush Lips getting beat?
I just hope she's not the quickest coming home. I've had her. I mean, I feel like I've bet her pretty much in like all of her career starts. I've liked this horse since debut. She's gonna be the favorite now. In here, it's a deeper field. The I had her last time out in the Honey Fox. That wasn't the greatest field. I mean, she took care of business easily. So no doubt that she's a very classy horse. I think this is really her. I think this is one of her first times just stepping up into like much deeper waters. I think some of these other horses that are in here are just as talented. So I'm just
Mhm.
kind of hoping she kind of she doesn't take that step another step forward. If she does, I mean, she's going to be super tough to beat. But you have multiple horses that have won grade ones in here. So I think this is probably the deepest field she's ever faced, and at, she'll probably get bet down to like 2 to 1. And it just for a double, I just felt like I was going to take a shot against her.
I'm gonna go with my trusty security blanket, trusty Snuggly, my one of my favorite horses, dynamic pricing. I think last time out, you could kind of draw a line through that. End of the year, the seventh place finish at Keeneland, 3 3/4 lengths back. There's expected that there's a little bit of moisture in the schedule right now for Keeneland on Saturday. And I think that that would, Chad had mentioned this horse likes a little bit of cut in the ground. So pay attention to the weather for Saturday. If there becomes a little bit of moisture, I think that only boosts the opportunity for dynamic pricing at 6 to 1, who will, be absolutely be closing late. I thought that last year, that little stretch that this horse put together in May and in the Just a Game up at Saratoga and at the Diana and then the Perfect Sting was impressive. The speed figures aren't, you don't see the 112s that we just saw. Was it 112 with Lush Lips back
Yeah,
to back? But the
yeah,
consistency out of this horse, 9 for 12 in the money, 5 for 12 on the turf, 3 for 6 at the distance, nearly a $1 million horse. And Chad, as I mentioned, just gets them ready in this spot. Um, You get Irad
yeah,
Ortiz back aboard, who hasn't ridden him since 2025 in that race at Belmont at Aqueduct, the Grade 3 win. So I like that as well. Nothing against Dylan Davis, but whenever you're teaming up with Chad and Irad in a race that Chad has had so much success at, and it's not the favorite, you're getting 6 to 1. To me, that is of great interest. Uh, the other horse I'm going to use in there is the number 8, Destino de Oro. Taking a little bit of a shot here for the Brad Cox trained horse with Junior Alvarado aboard. He's one of the other ones in here that has won 3 in a row. You're getting a 4 to 1 on Junior and Brad, and this is absolutely a deep closer who, at the grade one level in the Queen Elizabeth at Keeneland finished eighth, 7.5 lengths behind Lush Lips. So certainly a lot to make up there. But the horses that have been running down at Gulfstream and coming up from Florida have been doing really well at Keeneland so
yeah,
far in the early meet here. So I'm taking
yep.
a little bit of a shot. I think that the price there will float up a little bit for
I
Destino
agree.
de Oro. I think you're going to get more than the 4 to 1. And so for me, I'm going to use those two. This horse is 3 for 4 at the distance, 6 for 9 on the turf. It's a little bit of a, off the board shot, but hey, why not?
Yeah, right. I think you're going to get more than 4 to 1 as well. I feel like she's been running against weaker, just overall compared to the rest of the field, and or at least a good portion of the field. And like you said, I mean, her one grade one effort before this, she finished pretty far back of Lush Lips. So I can't imagine them being too close in price come post time. But yeah, dude's won 3 in a row, won both races this year so far. Seems to be improving. So nothing terrible there. You can't fault you for picking her.
Yeah, she's going to need the pace up front, but I think if she gets it, man, she comes flying like a freight train late, and she's
Yeah.
intriguing to me. So those will be the two that I try to get by with. It'll be the 5 and the 8, and for Vinny, he will try to get by singling the number 10. Scan that QR code, head over to doublingdown.printful.me to get your latest Doubling Down hat, shirts, and all of the fun gear. We're going to take a quick time out here on Nesson Nation, but don't go anywhere on our YouTube page because we are diving into leg two right now. Leg two, Vinny, is the Lexington Stakes, the last of our Kentucky Derby preps. And real quick, before we get into this leg, I wanted to bring back up those standings because we've got some new names on our leaderboard, Vinny, finally. No more
Yeah.
Chumbo and Mike Myers. Let's get those guys out of there and let someone else play. And can I play? You absolutely can. Dives in and takes the lead last week with a quick $1 ticket and hits it getting 1108. K Cross, Mitchy Mitch. Hey Vinny, who's that? Sitting there in the
Yeah,
four
right.
spot.
I'm on the screen. I'm on the
That's
screen.
it.
It feels good.
I love it. Let's see if we can get you a little bit higher up those standings as we look at the Lexington Stakes. Man, Vinny, I had a hard time getting
Yeah,
excited or
I did too.
landing on any of these horses, to be honest.
I I did too, and like I mean, like it looks like Racelands really likes the number 9. I went to the number 9 and number 10 first and looked at them, and then like the more I looked at this race, I'm like, this just doesn't like. Yeah, they could win, but like it just has the feeling of like if these horses were better, they wouldn't be here type feel to it, in my opinion. I mean that was a huge jump between February and March for this horse.
Oh, just crazy.
And like, yeah, like, and like, sure, sometimes horses need a start. I'm wondering how good that race last time out really was.
That everyone
I'm
was winning
skeptical.
on the front
Yeah,
end that day.
yeah, I'm very skeptical, and it was one of those like, hey, like if I lose to a 2-1 favorite here, I'm fine with it. I'll take a swing. So I didn't use that one. I guess we'll start with the number 1 here. For Dallas Stewart, he just keeps improving. It's not great, in my opinion, but I don't think great is going to win this race. So I like the yeah, you said it. I like the increased speed figures. They finally put him around 2 turns last time out, and he won. No, he went from 6 to 7, back down to 6, and then they finally stretched him out to 7, and he won. And again, I don't know how good that field is. I feel like Cromwell's a horse that had a ton of hype and then just didn't ended up being nothing. Um, but he won. Uh, I'll take a shot. I'll take a shot there. Um, because I feel like the increasing speed figures is something that most of this field isn't doing right now.
Hmm.
So yeah, I thought this one made a little bit of sense. I think I'm gonna get a bit of a price because of the 9 and 10 in here. Yeah, the horse comes off Lasix. It's kind of whatever. He did lose to the 10 a couple in his second career race. Ran third behind the 10. I the horse just I thought made sense here. I just didn't. I thought the favorites had too many holes to use.
Yeah, I agreed with you. I went back and forth on a lot of horses and ultimately landed on using the Dallas Stewart trained horse on my ticket as well, just based on the fact of the increasing speed figures. Like, there's probably more here. And as you mentioned, the stretching out, the horse did not get worse and is one for
Yeah,
one at the distance. So for me, very logical, 6-1 price, good enough for me to put on
yeah,
my ticket. Similarly, I also was intrigued by the number 4, who we don't talk about our picks before we start the show, and that's kind of where you landed as well. And the logic was very similar in that Enforced Agenda breaks the maiden first time out at Aqueduct, beating Otino was in that race and
yep,
gets an 89, which I thought was respectable, going a mile. Then in the Jerome, this was a 4-horse race, okay? So you may laugh at the trouble sign, but I have never seen a horse have more trouble in a 4-horse race than what
yep,
Enforced Agenda did. So the Forced Agenda is the gray horse, is the number 1 on the inside. They're going to come out of the gate. He's going to have trouble immediately out of the gate. So there's his break. He breaks left and he's immediately behind the field, okay? This is a 4-horse race, Vinny. I want you to watch where Enforced Agenda ends up right here. So he's on the inside behind 2 horses in the front. Now, maybe right here he gets a little bit uncomfortable. It's only his second time racing. And the horse to his
Hmm.
right side comes in and watch this right here.
Yeah.
Right? Jockey's pulling
Yeah, it
back on him,
comes
has some
over on him.
trouble, loses his step, loses his
Yeah.
speed, and now he's once again, so not only has he had the trouble starting, now he's had some trouble as they approach the turn here. And he's 4th place, but I liked what I saw both in the first time this horse run from the way he accelerated, and then, like I said, I've never seen a horse have so much trouble in a 4-horse race as he does. But right here, pulling out a little bit, but once he gets the whip, he accelerates a little bit as well. So I'm okay drawing a line through the fact that the first Equibase speed figure was an 89, and then he comes down and drops an 80 because this race doesn't even switch the right leads there as well. Just all kinds of trouble for Enforced
Yep.
Agenda. Made him enough interest for me to include him on my ticket at 10 to 1 with Javier Castellano aboard, who was the jockey first time.
Yeah, I saw the same thing you did. That and like the other thing I liked about him was like they didn't rush him back into a derby prep, and like I know this is technically a derby prep, but this seems like a second like kind of like a restart to the year for him, where they gave him like the Jerome didn't go as intended, and like he had problems. He looked very green there. He doesn't break out of the gate well, and then he's throwing his head a bit, and like yeah, he got cut off a little bit on the backstretch. He's throwing his head a bit. It seems like his workout pattern though has been pretty steady. They gave him a month off, and then they started bringing him back, and they brought him back in March, and maybe he grew up a little bit in that, in the last couple months. And they're gonna George Weaver. I would be shocked if they're not kind of trying to gauge this horse who, at the beginning of the year, was talked about on the Derby Trail. Kind of see if they can get him into one of the bigger stakes come summer. This could be one of those like a late blooming horse who he had potential early. Just needed to do some growing up. So I actually really like the spot for him here.
Yeah, I agreed. And then you decided to use the number 7. The hell we did. Love the name.
Y- Yeah. Um. This one was another one where he's 2 for 3 lifetime. The last race, I mean, I know he didn't beat. I know he didn't beat anything. Um. But I don't really think there's much in here. He's stretching. Yeah, he's stretching out. Um. I just thought this horse was intriguing, and I feel like I'm gonna get a price, and he's like, maybe he's not great, but he's out of authentic. I don't think the distance should be that big of an issue for him. Uh, he won his last race by 13. The race he lost, he finished second. He's increased again, another horse with increasing speed figures. Um, and like I feel like Fincher is not really one to put horses in spots like this.
Hmm.
So like and like especially knowing that the horse isn't going like unless something freakish happens and 10 plus horses scratch, a win here is not getting this horse in the Derby. So this kind of, in my opinion, kind of seems like what they're doing with Enforced Agenda, where it's like, let's see what we have against Graded Stakes Company, and we'll like reassess afterwards. Um, and like I said, I feel like Fincher does not overplace horses in open stakes company like this very often. So I feel like they must think they have something here if this horse is entered.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Let's do our race lens angle of the day because you mentioned it. Authentic is the sire. When authentic over the past 3 years, the horse is on the dirt. First route, 3-year-olds and older. 49 starts, only 3 wins, 6%,
Yeah,
31% in the money. So not great there when
that's
it's 3-year-olds and older
uh,
trying the route for the first time.
that's why I'll probably get double digit odds on them. I just didn't really want either of the two favorites in here. I just if they beat me, they beat me type deal with the two favorites, and I thought he was just a logical alternative.
I took Confessional. He was the more logical one of the 2 to me. Like, in a spot here where this horse just I don't know what to do with these Colonial Virginia
Yeah,
Derby, 19 and a half length victories. It is trained by Brad Cox, so that gave me pause. The horse is sired by Essential Qualities, $485,000 purchase. Like the there's signs there that the
uh,
horse is talented, but I would rather take the horse. We'll play that company game who ran second to Nearly, ran against Renegade, ran against the Puma. Like that Sam F. Davis seventh place finish, 11 lengths back is not anything really to be embarrassed by because those are the horses who we think are at the
yeah,
top of the class here. Comes back and finishes third with my nemesis Julian Le Peru behind Incredible. Um, so Brad
yeah,
Cox, IRAD gets back aboard, and I know that the price is not. I'm gonna have to swallow that. Uh,
yeah,
I'll take a shot.
yeah. He made of the two. I agree. I think he made the most sense. I just don't know if I really want anything about that out of that Virginia Derby just yet.
Yeah,
Like Gritness came in second, and like again, it's a non. It's like Gritness ran really well. I don't think Gritness is very good. Again, this field's not very good, so like it makes like a horse like this definitely can win. At the short price though that you got to swallow for him, it's kind of like I felt like I would have had to single him, and I tried. I looked at it and I tried, and I couldn't get there as a single, so I decided to spread using some prices. But he's the logical one that I feel like if I'm not going to hit this ticket, it's because that horse wins.
here's our ticket. I'm gonna go 5-8 with the 1-4-10. Vinny's gonna go 10 with the 1-4-7. Get your picks in at doublingdown.glide.page. Until next time, I'm Colin. He's Vinny. Good luck, everybody.